Everyone, we're back. We're here in Ostagar. We're going to be taking a look around the remainder of the camp. Let's see if we can find the king and that Logain guy, and then we have to go talk to Mr. Alistair. There should be some other people around here that we can talk to as well.
I'm sorry, but the mages must not be interrupted.
The mages must not be interrupted. Their spirits are in the Fade.
When will they return?
I am not privy to such knowledge, and, I suspect, neither are you. Regardless, they are not to be disturbed, not even by Grey Wardens.
As you wish.
The mages must not be interrupted. Their spirits are in the Fade.
He's like really persistent. What are they doing?
Perhaps they're scouting for Darkspawn. I don't know, and don't ask. Regardless, they are not to be disturbed, not even by Grey Wardens.
Damn Templars. Guess we'll leave them alone. What's this guy doing?
Hail to you.
Well, hail to you too, I guess.
We stand here in this hour, good folk of Ferelden, and we contemplate the death that
This
may
is when?
await. Death is no failure, my friends. Should it find you, you will not have failed your king. You will have served your maker. Die in this battle, and when you stand before the maker in the land beyond the Fade, he shall not find you wanting. Go not into death gladly, but with the knowledge that evil has been held at bay by your spilled blood. And if you go to stand beside the maker, go with our blessing, for you shall not be forgotten.
Just a sermon.
Let us bow our heads and remember those who have fallen and those who have yet to fall.
Okay, it sounds
Maker
like
above, hear the prayers of your sons and
done,
daughters.
maybe?
We who betrayed your
Or
prophet
is she starting
Andraste
over
now
again?
beg your forgiveness.
What do we have
Don't
here?
abandon us in our
I heard the
darkest
new
hour.
Grey Warden recruit was from the Circle. I don't believe we've met, but I've certainly heard a lot about your talent. My name is Wynne, and I congratulate you on your harrowing, marvelous work. The Fade is a dangerous place.
Didn't find it terrifying. But what are we referring to when we say, yes, I know all that? Oh, all about that. Okay, the Fade being a dangerous place. It wasn't that difficult.
Oh ho, you know all there is to know already, do you?
I didn't
Irving
say
said as
that.
much about you. Remarkable self-confidence. So, a Grey Warden, fighting alongside the King. Not too shabby for someone just out of apprenticeship.
Jealous? I don't care if I disappoint anyone. Let's ask, King Kalen thinks the battle will go well.
The King must always seem confident. His behavior affects the troops' morale. He does seem to find his enthusiasm easily, though. Reminds me of a puppy. And I say that with both respect and affection. He is a fine man. To defeat the Darkspawn, we have to work together. It's not an idea everyone seems able to grasp.
You faced Darkspawn before?
Stragglers, yes. Not the vast horde the scouts speak of. I wonder, how much do you know of the connection between Darkspawn and the Fade?
I guess you'd know a little bit about the stories the Chantry says, but we're gonna ask this anyway. What does the Fade have to do with anything?
Anytime your spirit leaves your earthly body, whether it's to dream or to die, it passes into the realm we call the Fade. It's home to many spirits, some benevolent, others far less so. At the heart of the Fade lies the Black City.
Yeah, we saw that. We read about it too, so we don't need to ask about that. Okay, so our darkspawn just stream spirits.
Sadly, no. They are kin to neither the gentle Fade spirits nor the malevolent demons. Shamefully, they were once the souls of men. Some say the Black City was once the seat of the Maker. But when the mages from the Tevinter Imperium found a way into the city, it was tainted with their sin. That taint transformed those men, turning them into twisted reflections of their own hearts. And the Maker cast them back to the earth, where they became the first Darkspawn. At least that's what the Chant of Light says.
Yeah. The chant says many things.
It may be allegory, meant to teach us that our own evil causes human suffering. Or it may be true. It is as good an explanation as any for now.
Or it could be neither. Doesn't really matter. I'll just kill every darkspawn I see.
A wise attitude. It's worked well for me in the past. But I'm certain Duncan has more for you to do than talk to me.
Watch over the valiant King Kalen and guide
You know-
him as he faces this
Oh, okay, they're
Watch
not
over
quite the
Terran
exact same, but they're very similar.
victory against the Scourge of Shadow.
Our robes.
Watch
yeah.
over Ferelden, the homeland of Holy
There's a quest over there.
Keep her people
but-
safe from the Darkspawn.
Yeah, let's go get
Let
the
us
quest.
bow our heads and offer prayers to the Maker.
This isn't good. I'd hate to waste such a promising member of the breed. Are you the new warden? I could use some help.
So there's a dog behind the fence here. I don't know anything about dogs.
It's not what you know so much as what you are, really. This is a Mabari, smart breed and strong. His owner died in the last battle, and the poor hound swallowed darkspawn blood. I have medicine that might help, but I need him muzzled first.
Why do you think I could muzzle him?
You're a Grey Warden, or soon will be. All wardens are immune to the darkspawn taint. The most you have to worry about is some tooth marks.
Just how smart is this dog?
Centuries ago, a mage bred them to be smart and understand what they're told. They can remember and carry out complex orders. Most valuable dogs in the world. Trouble is, they generally imprint to one master. Re-imprinting them is very difficult. But without the medicine, re-imprinting won't be an issue. Will you help?
So what he's talking about with the imprinting is basically that the dog becomes fiercely loyal to one person and one person alone. So they'll follow that one person and they won't obey the orders of anyone else. Yeah, that's basically it. And he's suggesting that after whoever they imprint to dies, it's very, very difficult to get them to imprint to anyone else. I'm gonna give like a bit of a spoiler here. It's not like a huge one, but I think it's valuable information that you need to have at this point in the game. So if you weren't planning on doing this quest, or if you haven't seen it, you should do this quest if you are interested in ever getting a dog to join your team. Because the dog that is in this kennel, if you don't save it, there's absolutely no chance that you can get a dog on your team of allies. However, if you do save it, the same dog can potentially become an ally of yours. Okay, so that's all for the spoilers. Could he be imprinted to me?
We can try, but first we need to muzzle and medicate him.
I'll give it a shot.
Go in the pen and let him smell you. We'll know right away if he'll respond. Let's hope this works. I'd really hate to have to put him down.
The dog looks up at you respectfully, backing down from his aggressive stance. You can see intelligence in his eyes, as well as a great deal of pain. This animal is very ill. So it does give you the option to kill the dog. I am tempted just to remain consistent with the whole thing about being evil. But if you do kill the dog, you obviously can't have it join you later. And my character, Elia, has been trapped in a tower all her life. So she wouldn't care if the dog dies. That's true. But she does like the idea of having a pet, because she's never had a pet before. They're not allowed in her, when she was growing up in the circle. She wasn't allowed to have pets or anything. So the idea of having an animal sounds interesting to her. So I think we will help. If you do kill the dog, this is where the story ends for the dog. It's done.
Well done. Now I can treat the dog properly, poor fella. Come to think of it, are you heading into the wilds anytime soon?
I might be. Why?
There's a particular herb I could use to improve the dog's chances. It's a flower that grows in the swamps here, if I remember. If you happen across it, I could use it. It's very distinctive, all white with a blood-red centre.
Where in the wilds would I find this flower?
It usually grows in dead wood that collects at the edge of ground pools. Should be plenty this time of year.
Okay. Will the dog be alright without it?
If he doesn't get it, chances are he'll need to be put down.
So that's your hint that if you do want the dog still, you have to do this quest as well. Do you think I have nothing better to do?
We're all busy. As it is, if we can get this hound better, we can re-imprint him on someone. Even you, if you like.
Alright. I'll see if I can find one.
Good. In the meantime, I'll begin treating our poor friend.
No, we're not going into the wilds quite yet, but we will in the future.
So, any last wishes I can help fulfill before you head into battle? Life is fleeting, you know. That pretty face could be decorating some darkspawn spear this time tomorrow. Shall I take that quiet glare as a no? Oh, well,
I'd
too
be
bad.
glaring too. What is this guy?
Well, you're not what I thought you'd be.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, me and Sir Knight were just betting on what the third recruit would be. Not an elf, yet here you are. The name's Davith.
Again, what's
It's
that
about
supposed to
bloody
mean?
time you came along. I was beginning to think they cooked this ritual up just for our benefit.
Isn't that a little paranoid?
That depends on what kind of life you've led. Me, I'm perfectly willing to accept that this joining is some kind of punishment. I happened to be sneaking around camp last night, see, and I heard a couple of Grey Wardens talking. So, I listened in for a bit. I'm thinking they plan to send us into the wilds.
So what? That wouldn't frighten me.
Cannibals, beasts, witches, and now Darkspawn. What isn't to be scared of? It's all too secretive for me. Makes my nose twitch. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Like we have a choice.
So they're forcing you to be here.
I've got nowhere else to go after what Duncan saved me from. Anyway, I expect it's time to get back to Duncan. That's where I'll be if you need me for anything.
I don't like that guy, but I will see more of him. Another chest we can't open. This is the quartermaster, so we can sell stuff here if we want.
You there, elf. Where's my armor? And why are you dressed so preposterously?
How dare you address me so, human?
What? Oh, you're the one who arrived with the Grey Warden. Please, forgive my rudeness. There are so many elves running about, and I've been waiting for... It's simply been so hectic. I never thought... But please, pardon my terrible manners. I am just the quartermaster, a simple man. No one special.
Alright, so quick background information here. The reason he is addressing an elf like that is because most of the elves, in fact, like a vast majority of the elves, are servants in this world, well, in this area of the world at least. So they're subservient to human lords and humans in general. Most of them live in places called alienages. That could have been our origin story if we chose to be an elf from the city. But yeah, so he's looking for a servant, basically, and the servant is basically a slave. They don't really have much choice in the matter. So, and they're treated very poorly by anyone who isn't an elf. Even some of the other elves treat them that way. Like when city elves and Dalish elves meet, as an example. Now that's not an exclusive rule, so it does change from time to time, depending on the region you're in and the city and all that. But for now, just know that the elves are treated very poorly. They're all subservient to humans. They live in alienages, which are basically ghettos inside of a city, so like a little locked off area within cities. The cities are all run by humans for the most part, but the alienage is like very poor ghetto area. So the Dalish elves are the only ones that really aren't servants in this area for the most part. There are exceptions, but few. Okay, so we don't like this guy. We're not gonna forgive him, and we're not gonna tell him not to worry about it. Perhaps you should treat your servants more kindly.
Yes, of course, you're very right. Did you come for some supplies, perhaps?
I did. What supplies do you have?
Arms and armor, for the most part. It's for the King's men, but you Grey Wardens can buy what you need for a modest price. I also have some goods on the side I can provide. Strictly off the record, of course, to keep morale up, you understand.
Okay, let's have a look at the other goods first.
So long as you keep it quiet.
And then we'll check out the other stuff. While we're here, we can sell some of the stuff we don't plan on using as well. So I'm not going to be keeping a lot of this stuff. If you get elf fruit and deep mushroom, even if you're not planning on doing much crafting, like with your herbalism, trap making, poisons, etc., it's good to keep these, and I'll point out why later. But it's not necessary yet, but it will be. What else can we sell? Mage robes, apprentice robes, chantry. No, actually, I'm gonna keep that. Sell the cowl, necklace. Yeah, this is a boring part, but if you ever encounter a merchant, always talk with the merchants. And what you're going to want to do is, after you talk for the merchant, scroll through the list of items that they have. And what you're looking for is, firstly, if you're into crafting, look for recipes. So like this is an example of a recipe. It's something that you can purchase, and it teaches you how to make this item. So in this case, it's Mabari Crunch, and that's basically a dog treat. It's the equivalent of a health potion, but for your dog. So it's just a hint there that you could potentially have a dog in your party at some point. And since we never killed the dog, that is true for us. So he has nothing else, but you do always want to scroll all the way to the bottom, because right at the bottom is where you'll find something called a backpack, and it adds 10 slots to your inventory so you can hold more stuff. He does have one in his other storage, so we're going to ask him to see his other goods. Well, not the other goods.
Hello again.
The other goods.
Is there something you need? Some supplies, perhaps?
Just his regular stuff.
Let me know what you'd like.
Okay, so you can see there's different recipes here. We can buy those too. I'm not going to, because I don't care. I don't plan on crafting any. But here's the example of backpack. That's what they look like. They're relatively cheap, all things considered, so just get them whenever you can. Especially since, for reasons I can't discuss, sometimes they become unavailable if you don't get them right away. And if you ever pick up one of these crystals, there's different colors. There's green, red, blue, and purple. And you want to keep all of them. You can't use them on your character, regardless of what class you are, but you will encounter a potential ally, presuming you have DLC, that uses these as their gear instead of regular equipment. So, something to keep in mind. Now, if you don't have any of the DLC loaded, or saved to your game, I don't think that you'll even see those crystals, so you shouldn't have to worry about it at all. There's another tranquil over here, so we're going to talk to him.
Welcome, young woman.
Who are you?
Do you not recognize my brand, good mage?
That's not what I asked.
I am one of the Tranquil.
Not what I
I
asked.
create and oversee the enchantment of weapons and armor for the king's forces here at Ostagar. It is a time-consuming process, but invaluable. Enchantment provides the circle its wealth. Certainly,
The game's
you would
basically
not get
telling
by
us that his
charity.
name doesn't matter. This entire conversation is pointless. We can ask what enchantment is, but there's no point. Yeah.
Goodbye.
He can't do any enchanting for us anyway. And if you click on this box, I'll show you what happens. Even if you're a rogue.
It will be
That
done.
course of action is inadvisable.
So yeah, he's basically telling you no. Now, he's not always there. He will have to move away from there at some point. And when he does move away from there, that gives you an opportunity to go to that chest. However, you need a key for it. Even if you're a rogue, that remains true. You can't pick that lock. Most other locks you can.
In the name of Andraste, I bless you today. May you
Another
find favor in the
sermon.
Maker's eyes.
Let's talk to the
So let
injured.
it be.
You need to convince them. We've got to run. The Darkspawn are coming.
That's very ominous. So, this guy was injured in battle, and whatever he saw terrified him to the point that he thinks everybody needs to flee. Why do you say that?
I saw them. We're gonna die.
I apologize, Warden. He's been like this ever since they found him in the wilds.
So no one else, he's the only witness. In other words, we have one witness, and whatever he saw, he is so terrified that he thinks the entire army needs to flee. That should be incredibly worrisome, but no one is taking him seriously. So, we are gonna ask, is it possible he has important information?
The commander who brought him here didn't seem to think so.
You can feel it, can't you? They taint the land, turn it black and sick. Oh, you can feel it inside. They'll come out of that forest and spread, like caterpillars covering a tree. They'll swallow us whole.
That's quite enough out of you. You need to calm yourself, my good man.
They were everywhere. I saw them.
So what he said there at the end, that won't make much sense to you unless you've played further into the game. He's basically referring to something called the taint. That's what you'll learn it's called. It's a disease that the Darkspawn all carry. It's part of their blood. If you get any of the blood on you, there's a chance that the taint can spread into you. Unless you happen to be a Grey Warden. Now, we are technically not a Grey Warden yet, but we will be. I won't say more on it for now, but yeah, that's an interesting tidbit. The taint is deadly, like it can kill you, and it will kill you.
Sir Duncan appears to be a worthy leader. The Grey Wardens are fortunate.
Yeah, they are. Well, yeah, let's talk to this guy. Oh, can't read that. Okay.
Greetings. You must be the third recruit we've heard about.
This guy must be another recruit. I am, and you are?
Sir Jury is my name. I hail from Redcliffe, where I served as knight under the command of Arl Eamon. I wasn't aware elves could join the Grey Wardens. Those camped in the valley are all human.
What's that supposed to mean?
Just that in some places, elves are not always permitted in the military. I hope we're both lucky enough to eventually join the Wardens. Is it not thrilling to be given that chance?
Yes, it is. That's not true, but it would be true if we made different choices in the beginning. The way we did it, that's not true. Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
I fought hard to get here. Impressing Duncan was not easy. Tell me, has anyone told you what this joining ritual entails?
No, they haven't. Although that one guy did say it was a big secret, so we could say that. But I'm gonna say this. You don't like the idea?
I had no idea I'd be tested more than I already had been. I suppose since you're finally here, I'd best get back to Duncan. I shall see you there.
Fair enough. Now we can talk to the priest.
Ah, I suspect you are one of the new Grey Wardens. Will you accept the Maker's blessing?
Nope. Oh, it doesn't even give me the choice to say no. I don't think, like, I would say that. It doesn't make a difference. Because since we grew up in the circle, that, like, the whole elf thing was not a prejudice that we encountered as much, just because we're all mages, so we're all equally prejudiced, equally oppressed in the eyes of the circle. So, but I'm not saying I will thank you, so it's forcing me into a deadlock here, and I really don't like it, but whatever.
I merely pass on the Maker's blessings. He looks kindly on all who will receive him.
I'm still not gonna accept. No, not interested. So, what this is referring to is if you are in the, I guess this anyone would be aware of this, but basically, what this is referring to is that the elves used to be all more like the Dalish. Not like the Dalish, because the Dalish are their own thing entirely, but in the past, there was like a society of elves, and that society ruled this land. Then, the Tevinter Imperium, which is Tevinter's that place to the north that we kept referring to, run by mages, they are also mostly humans, and they came and took over the Elven lands. All of the elves were either enslaved, and those who were not enslaved fled into the wildlands and became the Dalish. We'll learn more about that story in a lot more detail later, but that is what it's referring to, and we're not going to say that. We're going to go, no, I'm not interested.
Then begone, heathen.
That the Grey Wardens accept the likes of you is forever their greatest weakness.
So she has quite a bit of bias there. Doesn't like anyone who is not willing to accept the chantry. And that's a locked chest, we can't open it. Can't talk to him yet. This prisoner is where you get the key for that chest that's over there. I'll show you what I mean.
Someone finally comes and talks to the lone prisoner. I don't suppose you've come to sentence me.
No, I haven't.
I don't suppose you have a bit of kindness in you.
I don't.
All I want is food and water.
Don't care.
They haven't fed me since I was locked up and I'm starving.
Okay, normally, I'm doing this because I want to play through this game as, like, a more despicable person than normal. Because I know, like, most people that play, at least all the playthroughs that I've watched of Dragon Age, even the other games, all of them have been very, everybody wants to be the hero, so they play their character as the hero. And like as a true hero, someone who does good for the sake of being good. They try to help everyone, or if they're not trying to help everyone, they have a set of beliefs that guides them, and it always leans on that more good side of things. For this character, I've talked about it a bit already, but she doesn't have that morality system. She doesn't understand what the rules are like outside of the circle, and she is sick and tired of being oppressed as a mage. So she's incredibly happy to be out here. So she's somewhat sympathetic to the fact that this guy's a prisoner, but she also knows that this is not like a regular prisoner. She thinks he must have done something to be in this cage. And we'll continue from there. Why would I want to help you?
Because you might want something I don't need. Them circle wizards got a chest they keep things in. Magical things. And I stole the key. That's why I'm here. I got one of them drunk, took his key and tried to sneak to the chest. They assumed I was deserting. I can't use it from here. But I'd trade you for some food and water.
Okay, he's fairly exposed, so we're gonna ask, they didn't find the key when you were arrested?
I swallowed it. But it's come back into my possession since then, so to speak.
I'll take that.
What? But you can't do that! Ah, God!
What? What in Andraste's name did you do that for? Just because you're a Grey Warden doesn't give you the right to go and kill anyone you please. Explain yourself.
He lunged at me. I had to defend myself.
I suppose you did at that. Fair enough. Well, no skin off my teeth. When they ask me why he's dead, that's what I'll tell them.
Alright, so that was the first of our actions that was what some might consider despicable. And let's face it, it was pretty despicable. We had no reason to kill him other than to take the key. But we do have the key now, and that's why there's that arrow over there. That's the chest that we need the key to get into. Now, as soon as the Tranquil leaves that area, that chest will be open and ripe for the taking. But he won't be leaving anytime too soon. We'll go over there once he's gone.
Sorry, miss. The army camp is off limits for you right now.
So be it. But we can take a look over there, kind of. It's hard to see. They didn't draw as many tents as maybe they should have. Considering it's supposed to be an army over there. And those are supposed to be pretty far in the distance. But it's enough. Maybe they just didn't have the budget to... I don't know, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Hail. You're one of Duncan's new recruits, correct? I can't let you through to the Korkari Wilds until he gives the word.
Why not?
The Korkari Wilds is a dangerous place. More so now that it crawls with darkspawn. They say the Great Blight began deep within its forests. One of our scouting patrols has been gone for 3 days. We're taking bets on who got them first, the darkspawn or the Witches of the Wilds.
So as you play the games, you'll find out there's been more than a few blights in the past. This is currently a much later blight. And he's referring to this blight, the one that's ongoing, or presumably ongoing right now. Now, technically, they shouldn't be calling it a blight unless they know for sure that there's an archdemon. But the reason everybody's calling it a blight is because the Grey Wardens are saying it's a blight, and everybody is putting their trust in the Grey Wardens. At least all the people we've talked to so far. There are things other than Darkspawn to watch out for?
Oh, sure. There's an old legend in these parts about Flemeth, the apostate sorceress who conquered this area centuries ago. She united the chasing barbarians and invaded the farmlands. That's when the great hero, Cormac, destroyed her army with his. Took her head right off, so they say. Her daughters survived and became the Witches of the Wild. Tales tell of them plaguing this area since, mostly superstitions, stealing babies and spoiling milk.
So that legend that he just described, Flemeth and the Witches of the Wild, you are going to want to pay attention to that story. It is something that continues on through the entire game, and Flemeth's name comes up quite a bit. So pay attention to it, and you'll discover more as we go. And you think these witches exist?
Only when it's dark and the wind is bad. No doubt those patrols met some darkspawn. That's enough for anyone to worry about. At any rate, that's why Duncan doesn't want you wandering out without his say-so.
Fair enough. We'll leave.
How do you do?
Well met.
Nobody wants to talk. Maybe this guy.
Welcome to the King's Camp, my lady.
You there, elf. What's your name?
It's Pick, sir.
Go tell Turn Logain that the war party's ready to begin scouting. We'll send word if we find anything amiss.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
We can follow him. So this is Taryn Logain's tent. And right over there, the yellow tent, that is the king's tent. So these are the two most important people in the camp. Taryn Logain is basically a very high-ranking lord. He never grew up as a lord, though. He was actually a farmer. He was born and raised a farmer. But the king, previous to this king, like this king's father, appointed him to lordship, essentially, or to be a Terran.
Hello? I'm sorry, is there something you needed?
What do you mean?
I deliver messages around the camp. You have a message for me?
Yes, I do.
Then what is... Oh, wait. Are you the one I'm supposed to give Sir Garland's sword to? Because I think the smith's done with it.
Yes. You're supposed to give me the sword.
Oh, that's such a relief. You really saved me from the switch for sure. I'd best get back to my duties again before I get in more trouble.
So, we just put that guy... basically gave him a death sentence because Sir Garland is expecting his sword, and now we have it, and that means that Garland will never get his sword, which means he's going to be angry at his servant, and servants aren't exactly treated well when their masters are angry at them. So that's evil count number 2.
Maker's breath, another elf. What do you want?
You have a problem with elves?
Not in particular, except for them being so thin-boned. You make good messengers sometimes. Is there something you wanted? We have no time for idle chatter.
I don't like this guy. Don't really want to talk to him anymore. He's being a prick. Yeah.
My thanks. There is hunting to be done, and I'll not be kept from it.
I will say something about them, though, because you can get this information anyway. This is a group of basically mercenaries. They were hired to come help out with the war efforts. And these guys are known in particular for fighting with their... for farting. Maybe that too, but for fighting alongside their dogs. That's why you see the 3 Mabari here. Or 4, I guess. Each one of them has 1 dog, and those dogs are imprinted to each of the warriors. Every warrior in the Ash Warrior mercenary guild or group has a dog imprinted to them. They fight with their dogs and they use the dogs in battle. They say that they learned it from another group a long time ago, and they use something called war paint with their dogs so that the dogs can tell each other apart in case that they're fighting another group with dogs. And also they put the paint on themselves as well so that the dogs can see who their masters are, like who the people that they're imprinted to are. Because in the heat of battle, especially when they're using like swords and axes and magic and all that, there's a lot of blood that goes all over the place, and when there's enough blood, it interferes with the dog's smell. So the dogs, the more blood there is, the harder time they usually have in determining who their imprinted owner is. The paint has parts to it that allow the dogs to smell the paint, even with blood around, and other things that hinder their sense of smell. Now, I don't think it would work that way in real life, but in this game, that's how it works. So the paint has a strong enough scent that the dogs can pinpoint it, and they understand that anyone who has that exact paint is belonging to the Ash Warriors, and thus is an ally, a friendly. So the dogs will not attack them, but they will attack anyone else on the field. Now let's see if we can talk to Logain.
You approach the tent of Tairn Logain. State your business.
Tell me about Tairn Logain.
How can you not know of Logain? He helped free Ferelden. He was the brains behind King Maric's armies and drove out those damned Orlesians. King Maric rewarded him by making him a Tairn. Can you imagine? A commoner became a high nobleman just like that. Without Logain, you can bet the king wouldn't be winning against these Darkspawn.
So, the Orlesians are another group of people. They live in a country to the west of Ferelden. Is the Tairn inside? What's he doing?
He's inside, but I don't think it's my place to discuss his activities.
Surely you can tell me more about him.
I suppose, as long as we talk quietly. He and the king have been arguing for days. The Tairn's known the king since he was swaddled, so they don't stand on ceremony. The Tairn speaks his mind, and the king yells right back. Personally, I think the king should do what Tairn Logain tells him. Without the Tairn, we wouldn't be doing as well here as we are.
So, right here we're getting evidence that the Tairn Logain and the king have not been seeing eye to eye lately. and we don't know how long this has been going on yet. Not exactly, anyway. But it's important to note that they don't get along, and they don't see this situation that we're in currently the same way. Persuade. I would like an audience with the Terran, please.
I suppose you have a message for him. Hold on, then.
Yes, what is it? Oh, you're Duncan's new Grey Warden, I assume.
Yes, I am. But I'm gonna ask, how do you know that?
His Majesty could not contain his excitement after your meeting. How could I not hear about you? Kaelin's fascination with the Wardens goes beyond the ordinary. Are you aware his father brought your order back to Ferelden?
So I would have heard that, would have read about it, maybe in like a recent book. It only happened recently, however. I'm gonna go with a fascination you don't share.
The Wardens are impressive, but not as relevant as Kaelin thinks. I hear you're from the Circle of Magi. The first enchanter spoke highly of you. A great achievement for one so young. I don't suppose you'll be riding into the thick of battle with the rest of your fellows, will you?
I certainly hope so.
Here for the glory, huh?
No.
Fair enough. Now I must return to my task. Pray that our king proves amenable to wisdom, if you're the praying sort.
Now, the reason I said I certainly hope so is because she likes the idea of checking out these dark spawns. She's never seen one before. She wants to see one. She wants to see what all the fuss is about. And since we're here supposed to be fighting alongside the king, like, what would be the point in even being here if you're not going to be participating in the battle? Now, she's never been in a battle. She may change her mind quite quickly, depending on what she sees. But for now, it seems like a good idea. It sounds like something that she'd be interested in. Especially with stories about heroic victories, people in the past who have accomplished great feats in the heat of battle and all that. So just repeat, you can read what the Logan said before. I'm gonna go with, and if he doesn't?
Then simply pray.
See, so you get a clear idea that Logan does not like the king at the moment. Now, maybe that's just because of some recent tension, but maybe it's not. We don't know.
Greetings. King Kaelin is not in his tent right now?
That means we can't talk to him. Can you tell me about the king? You must see him a lot.
I suppose I do, though he's spending most of his time with the Grey Wardens. He rides with them wherever they go, in fact. Terran Logain sees the king whenever he can and argues with him over coming battles, but the king just waves him off. The king wants to end the Blight with a single huge battle the bards will sing of for centuries. Do you think that's possible?
I guess it could be, but how should I know?
I thought Grey Wardens knew all about the Darkspawn. The king thought it was funny that Terran called him reckless, and they fought about the queen.
More about them fighting, and apparently about the queen too, so... The queen?
She's the Terran's daughter. He wasn't happy about something she did or the king did, I'm not sure. I probably shouldn't discuss it.
So, what he just said is basically that Terran Logain is angry, and he was having a heated discussion with the king about the king's wife, who happens to be Logain's daughter. Now, he doesn't know if the conversation was actually about the queen, or if it was about the king. But either way, Logain was angry. Very angry. And he doesn't seem to have gotten over his anger. If anything, it's been building up, because they also don't agree about this entire situation with the battle. And Logain does not trust the Grey Wardens. Now, if you know anything about Logain's past, you'll know why, but you don't really find out too much about it unless you ask the right questions in this game. And there are supplementary books that touch more on Logain's past, and you can ask him more depending on how your game plays out in the future. But for now, we're going to disregard that because I don't want to spoil too much. So, I should
As
go.
you wish.
Now, let's back to the bridge, so we're not going over there. Check out up here, and then after we finish checking out this area, we can
Look
go
carefully,
and
man.
find...
This wretched thing is a darkspawn. They're strong and cunning and smart, but don't listen to those old wives' tales. They can be killed. Stick them with your sword enough, and they go down. Their blood is black as sin and poisonous. Don't even touch it. You get tainted with that blood, and you may as well slit your throat. We've lost many dogs already. Had to muzzle them to keep them from biting. It's a long and painful way to die.
So what he was talking about the taint again, and that's kind of what I was talking about when we were talking with the injured soldier way over there. This is our first time looking at a darkspawn. It's a dead darkspawn, obviously, because it's not moving. I guess they won a battle against a few darkspawn and brought one of the bodies back so that he could show some of the soldiers what the darkspawn look like, so they know what the enemy looks like. Another chest we can't open.
This is supposed to be the battle that sends these Darkspawn back underground. You believe that?
I don't know what to believe. We've won every battle, but there's more of them each time.
Makes you wonder if them Grey Wardens are right.
I don't want to think about that.
Sounds like the perfect time to get drunk, if you ask me.
I like that conversation. Now,
The last scouting party made it back last night. Barely.
What do you mean?
Only 2 of them made it, and one was minus a leg. Said they encountered some darkspawn that was 10 feet tall, with horns as long as your arm. The injured one died last night. They said his blood was already turning black.
Maker's breath. Where are they all coming from?
So, what we get the idea of is that there's a lot of darkspawn on the surface, and there's more than normal on the surface right now. And apparently there's giant darkspawn too. We'll learn what those are later, but I'm not going to say anything about it for now. What I am going to say, though, is that you have to notice that they were talking a lot about darkspawn being on the surface, and it might give you the impression that darkspawn being on the surface is what indicates blight. That's not the case. It's the archdemon that indicates blight, because darkspawn do come to the surface when there's not a blight. It's just not as common. So just so you don't get confused.
Hello again. You need something now?
Just saying hello.
Oh, alright. Nice to see you again.
I just wanted to see what he would say. Thought maybe he'd already talked with Sir what's his face, Garland or whatever. So we have one thing left to do before.
There are lots of darkspawn, different kinds.
Yeah, one thing left to do before we go do whatever Duncan wants us to do. So we have to go find Alistair. Now Alistair's on the other side of the camp, way up here. Just ignore that, because that guy's still there. Now, if you go over that way, there's some servants you can talk to. You can't really have like a full conversation, so I'm not going to bother right now. But there's also a chest over there in the corner. You can open the chest if you're a rogue.
What is it now? Haven't Grey Wardens asked more than enough of the Circle?
I simply came to deliver a message from the revered mother, Sir Mage. She desires your presence.
What her reverence desires is of no concern to me. I am busy helping the Grey Wardens, by the King's orders, I might add.
Should I have asked her to write a note?
Tell her I will not be harassed in this manner.
Yes, I was harassing you by delivering a message.
Your glibness does you no credit.
Here I thought we were getting along so well. I was even going to name one of my children after you. The Grumpy One.
Enough. I will speak to the woman if I must. Get out of my way, fool.
You know, one good thing about the Blight is how it brings people together.
So what they were talking about, that mage that was here, and he left already, we won't see him again. But that mage, he had a big problem with the Chantry. Now, a lot of mages do have problems with the Chantry, but a lot of them don't, as you can tell. Like Wynne, as an example, is one of the mages that is more keen on the Chantry. She likes the Chantry more. That mage that we just saw was obviously very against the Chantry. Now, we are playing a mage that's against the Chantry. We don't approve of the Chantry. Wynne, for whatever reason, and mages like her, they've been either socially conditioned or led to believe that the Chantry is a good thing in the world, and like Irving was talking about, that the circle is there for the protection of mages and for the protection of others, and etc. Okay, so we don't know what Strange is, so we're not going to bother with that. I mean, we have our opinion on Strange, but we don't have like a common opinion on what like a strange human would be, considering the only humans we've really encountered are Templars in the Circle and other mages until very recently. I know exactly what you mean.
It's like a party. We could all stand in a circle and hold hands. That would give the Darkspawn something to think about. Wait, we haven't met, have we? I don't suppose you happen to be another mage?
I am indeed a mage.
Really? You don't look like a mage. That is... I mean... how interesting. Wait, I do know who you are. You're Duncan's new recruit from the Circle of Magi. I should have recognized you right away. I apologize.
How could you recognize me?
Duncan sent word. He spoke quite highly of you. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Alistair, the new Grey Warden. Though I guess you knew that. As the junior member of the Order, I'll be accompanying you when you prepare for the joining.
So I don't really know what to think about that. The fact that Duncan sent word, but the word was so descriptive that Alistair is under the impression that he could have recognized my character just on a word. Interesting. It also might be embellishment, so take it for what you will. What can you tell me about the joining?
Honestly, nothing. Try not to worry about it. It will just distract you. You know, it just occurred to me that there have never been many women in the Grey Wardens. I wonder why that is.
So obviously, this is an example of a line that would not come up at all if you were a male character. Or another example, because we have seen more, I just didn't point them out for whatever reason. This one was just super obvious to me, so I figured I'd point it out. Probably because we're too smart for you.
True, but if you're here, what does that make you?
Incredibly unlucky.
Ouch. Anyhow, whenever you're ready, let's get back to Duncan. I imagine he's eager to get things started.
No, we know what the argument was about, being a mage ourselves. Or, I guess we don't, because we don't know anything about him. So, we presume we know. Mainly because that other mage brought up the chantry, and he brought up the chantry, like he was here with a message from the chantry, and the mage doesn't like the chantry, or the idea of having to communicate much with the chantry, so that's understandable. So in that sense we do know, but what his role as a messenger was, and what the message was, we don't know. You don't have to accompany me, do you?
Don't worry. I'll try not to embarrass you.
Good. What about the other recruits?
Davith and Sir Jory are here in the camp. Have you met them?
Yes, we have. Both of them.
That makes things easy then. They'll both be back with Duncan by now.
So Davith was the lecherous one that was trying to do things with a particular woman that we saw in the camp. And then Jory was the one that was sitting around for a sermon by that priest that was very uppity towards us when she found out that we didn't want her prayers. Might as well ask this too, just because it's here.
With the mage. The circle is here at the king's request, and the chantry doesn't like that one bit. They just love letting mages know how unwelcome they are. Which puts me in a bit of an awkward position. I was once a Templar.
You were a mage hunter?
Not that that's all Templars do, but yes, the chantry raised me until Duncan recruited me 6 months ago. I'm sure the revered mother meant it as an insult, sending me as her messenger, and the mage picked right up on that. I never would have agreed to deliver it, but Duncan says we're all to cooperate and get along. Apparently they didn't get the same speech.
Alright, let's go.
If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, lead on.
And he has joined our party. For now. Since he's gonna be in our party, let's give him some gear. I don't mind giving helmets to my party members just because it's like I'm not the screen isn't following them around, it's following me around, so. Actually, defense might be better. Resistance, Constitution. Here. There we go. Give him a... Okay, actually, before I do that, so what this item is, it's something called a gift. There's a lot of gifts. Now, in one of the previous episodes, I think it was episode 2, I talked about something called, Feast of, I don't remember what it's called actually. It's something about a feast. But the feast stuff, I talked about items that it gave you. It was one of the DLC. Basically, all of those items are gifts. They're these. And when you give gifts to your party members, it increases their affection level, or it can also decrease their affection level. Now, at certain points in the game, depending on where you're at with their affection or approval, you get character-specific quests based on that approval. So the higher you get with your approval, the more chances you have of obtaining new quests. Now, there are thresholds, so you have to be at a certain level of affection or a certain level of approval before the quest will activate. So we're gonna give him a beef bone.
Is that for me? Really?
He basically says the same thing for most of the gifts that you give him, so no point in listening to it. Duncan is waiting for us, but this is going to start a new major portion of our quest chain, a new major portion of the story, so we're not going to talk to him this episode. We'll save it here, and we'll continue this next time. Thank you for watching. Take care.